very good afternoon to all of you. This CXO Roundtable is brought to you by TruBizSol Academy Australia. TruBizSol Academy is founded by Mr. Gopal Garg, and he's on a mission of building modern, employable workforce for global markets and works with academic leaders, industry leaders, and corporations to help educational institutions and empower students around the world to develop effective and employable skills for the global market. So this is an initiative of the Talk Media, a new media and thought leadership platform. So, all right, let's picture this. In the heart of a bustling metropolis city, we have, say, someone like Maya, a marketing guru from Malaysia, who understands the nuances of South Asian consumer behavior like no one else. Now, she collaborates seamlessly with the gentleman Arjun, an IT professional with a lot of technical expertise. And let's assume he sits in Chennai. And let's not forget about Satya, the supply chain genius from US, who knows the intricacies of logistics business of the North American market like the back of his hand. These individuals from different corners of the world aren't just employees. They are the architects of modern employable workforce. They understand the success in today's economy isn't just about borders. It's all about breaking it down. So in the story, education leaders play a pivotal role. They are the guides who actually equip these modern architects with the skills and knowledge that is needed for the global marketplace. So with this precursor, I would like to welcome our esteemed panelists for the Talk CXO Roundtable. Not necessarily in order, but I'm calling out those who are in my list. Okay, the panelists, welcome Dr. Akila, CEO of KSR Educational Institutions. Welcome, Dr. Akila. Ms. Anusha Ravi, CEO of Park Institutions. Welcome, Ms. Anusha. Dr. M. Ramaswamy, Principal, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome, Dr. Ram. Dr. Sundarapandiyan Natarajan, Director, Adithya School of Business Management and Adithya School of Technology. Welcome, Dr. Sunda.
Thank
you. Dr. Bala Tandayudapani, Professor, Jansen School of Business. Welcome, Dr. Bala.
Thank you.
Dr. R. Karpagam, Principal of Kathir College of Arts and Science. Welcome, Dr. Karpagam. And Mr. Gopal Garg, Founder, TruBizSol Academy Australia. Welcome, Mr. Gopal. And I'm going to be a moderator. I am Shyam Sekar. I'm the founder of Startup Experts and also creator of Voxit Media Tech, a podcast app in Play Store. All right, so now I would like to ask Mr. Gopal Garg to start with a brief opening note for his interesting CXO Roundtable session. Over to you, Gopal.
Thanks, Shyam. And the company name is TruBiz Solutions, just to make sure everybody understand that. Okay. So yeah, so hello everyone. And I can say thanks for your time, and it's a great pleasure in connecting and discussing with all of you on a theme which is closer to my heart and very relevant to today's workforce. Thanks, Satish, for organizing this session. Much appreciated. TruBiz Solution is a management consulting and training company based in Sydney, Australia. Since our inception in 2015, we have been inspiring, educating, mentoring, and training people across the globe to build modern workforce and develop business leaders. We have a team of world's best global thought leaders, trainers, mentors across the regions. Our focus is on students for learning and development, includes identifying knowledge gaps, taking responsibility for own learning and development, understanding the impacts of self-efficacy, dealing with pressures and emotions, reflective practice, professional development, and current awareness. We have partnered with education institutes in India and Australia in building modern employable workforce for global market. My journey demands continuous and consistent engagement with all the stakeholders, exchange ideas, insights, partnerships, and support. In our extensive work with organizations and academia across the globe, we are able to identify the demand, supply, and help stakeholders meet their requirements and accomplish We have created an ecosystem providing a platform to corporates in the recruitment of engineering and management students during the final year of their degree courses. It's a little different than the usual after the graduation people get to employment. So what is happening is this is actually helping organizations to train them on real projects and immerse them to the culture of the organization. We have an extensive experience exposure in Tamil Nadu as a market and especially with Coimbatore as a region. Just to give a little perspective that I lived in Tamil Nadu, Chennai for 9 years, and Coimbatore, I think, traveled 50 or more times when I was in Chennai because of work. We have an excellent case study for Coimbatore. We have been able to successfully place students in various corporates for internship program through this channel. Actually, this event is not only helpful for knowledge sharing, but also I think is an opportunity to build meaningful and long-term relationships. I look forward to a wonderful discussion with your valuable insights, which will be very valuable for me in this journey of shaping the modern workforce. Once again, thanks for joining. I would love to meet you in person to understand a little more when I next time comes to Coimbatore. Thank you very much. Over to Shyam.
Fantastic, Gopal. That's interesting to know. I think more questions would be coming your way where you can explain a little more on that as well. So thanks for the nice intro. So I would like to roll this question to get brief answers from every one of you. So the question is, what do you see as the basic skill requirements for the modern global workforce? I would like to start with the Akila.
Yeah. Hello, all. Uh, I appreciate the initiation taken by the talk. And my dear colleagues, the skills requirement for the modern global workforce. The name modern global workforce is a great title, I would say. And yeah, in because we are used to the name workforce.
Yeah.
Global is something really great, and modern is something very interesting. So when I saw the title and other things, I thought the right people are at the forum to address it. My thought process is critical thinking and problem solving is one of the primary area where we have to look upon with the students and the faculty members in creating the future employees. So critical thinking in the sense analyzing the complex problems. So these days when we go for the placement, especially the multinational companies, the problem statement itself is very complex. The students have to apply their mind and develop algorithm or the logic and then solve the problem in the minimum time with minimum space. So how to address those problems is the mainly is the critical thinking and problem solving we have to definitely develop in our students.
Yeah.
Then again, after COVID, we should agree that remote and hybrid work culture has developed. So many of them, when they are out of the college, they expect that they'll go offshore, onshore. Many dreams have been broken due to such remote hiring and other things. So how are the workforce is going to adapt such remote workplaces and the hybrid workplaces? That is one of the skill which deals with the emotional intelligence of the students. So that is very much important. Then the creativity and innovation. We think that only for the product development, we need some creativity and innovation like in manufacturing, but not so. In all the fields now, creativity is very much needed for the students to, I mean, the workforce that has to be created. So they have to, the company does not need a monotonous style. So they need diverse solutions for situations. So that one thing which is very important for the workforce. So these
Fantastic.
three I would suggest.
Okay, I think quite a. I think I could pick up 4 5 points. So that's very interesting. So I think it's a comprehensive list, I guess. So Anusha, what would you add to that, or how would you like to
Yeah, I think today we are not only looking at global workforce, we are creating global leaders.
Right.
I think India has gone ahead and, we are making political leaders as well. So many countries are having leadership from India or Indian origin, I should say. So it's a nice time to be in the global market, and I want to congratulate the talk and Satish and TruBizSol Solutions Australia for coming forward to doing this, because it's I think the timing for doing this is perfectly right, because after COVID things are speeding up. The workforce in the global market were asked to stay at home, stay from wherever you are and work, and now they're all being asked to come back to work. So in the US also, the pressure is on. At least 3 days a week, they are supposed to report to work. So the things are happening in a different pace right now. And I think, as I said, there is no question that, Indians are already in the market, and, we are the #1 preferred in many countries to be hired, because we work with no time, less salary, or a lot of, good things also come with, sometimes they say it's higher for an Indian average salary, but I feel, in many situations it's not addressed. In many other countries, some countries are different. So I think overall, if you look at the global market, is very good, and to have the students, or the workforce being prepared, I think today the most challenging thing that they need to get ready with is a skill that I try to even impart in the school. It's unlearning and learning. So the constant unlearning and learning is mandatory in the field today. And this is something that we don't give importance to in the curriculum or anywhere. It comes beyond the curriculum. So I think, AI, using the tools, whatever comes in the market, they have to be having the thirst for learning. That is very, very important. And this is something that I find, to get them ahead globally. And to be open to, learning languages, being communicative, these are all things that puts them ahead in the market. So these are things that are already being done, but still, I think the little sharp focus on the communication and the peer working and all these things can help. So first thing is learning and unlearning. Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll come to the tech skills and other things, when we touch upon a little later during the course of discussion. Your inputs on this, Ramasamy, on the skill set required for modern global workforce.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk during the talk. I think when you refer to basic skill requirements, I would consider the skill in the domain as the first. As I have a close relationship with industry, especially coming from a chemical industry background, I have found our graduates are wanting for the basic what do we call the knowledge in the domain. Now that we are having a degree program in 4 years, and then whatever I learned in my time in 5 years, my students are supposed to learn in 2 years or 2.5 years, and the rest of the time is used for developing all the other skills like digital literacy, data literacy. Now we are in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Every industry is going for digitalization, and every workforce has to know what it means. What is digitalization and what data we get and how do we use the data to the betterment of the increasing efficiency of the industry that they work for. So there are ways and means where we can shorten the period of education, where we can teach them everything thanks to the modern technology that we have. And I still believe that we need to give emphasis on the domain. Then together, you can call digital literacy, critical thinking as pointed out, good communication skills, all these soft skills. A university in Malaysia calls well-rounded graduates. They have 7 attributes of a graduate, and all these are like critical thinking, problem solving, business acumen, Yeah, we are not only looking at the engineers that we produce to be a workforce, they can also be entrepreneurs and then providing job to others. I think these are the basic things that we can start with, and then as we go on, we can discuss more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
I
much.
think, thanks. I think very different, interesting, diverse perspective. Your views on this, Sundar?
Yeah. So distinguished dignitaries, I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a pleasant evening once again to all. So I am coming from different background, and I would like to give some inputs on competency-based education and the skill development. I refer to the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's stand. When engineering or arts and science, any course you take it, 33% of the time, it's a time for you to include competency training or skill training or readiness towards their employment. That is what education institutions and the policy makers should think like. That's what recent, he was addressing, in the latest, what was his latest conversations. That was one thing. The other side, I look at the research is done by Connecticut, University of Connecticut. So we speak so much about domain knowledge, technology knowledge, and everything. We look at it. And the alumni of the world-renowned universities come forward and contributed so much. And they have addressed the people, and they have shared what made them really a great, successful leaders in the world was that through their skill development and the soft skill area, which was almost like 87%, which is required for their abilities to make them successful. Where the other side, 13% speaks about whatever we speak so much, like technology or the domain expertise and so on, not leaving that 13% away. That is so much important, provided your competency, the ability to perform, as ma'am Anusha said about communication is so important, and Akila ma'am said about the decision-making skills and so on. So much to look at further and work towards. Maybe these perspectives got to be looked into. Critical thinking skills, exactly said by Akila ma'am. So all these to be looked at, and I'm focusing towards my perspective in this question is all about going with competency. As trend gets changed, industry 4.0 we are in, it's going to be 5.0, it's going to be more. Continuous learning is another, one of our other colleagues has mentioned that should be taken into account as education is here. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, wonderful. I think touched upon well, and I would like to hear your views, Bala.
Yeah, I thank you for the opportunity. The experts have already rendered their opinion. I will look into the basics as we are looking at the fresh graduates who are looking at being placed globally. 4 fundamental skills comes to my knowledge, which Dr. Akila has already touched upon. Communication, creative or critical thinking, problem solving. Of course, leadership for a fresher, yes, it may not come into the picture, but I look at it at a different perspective, taking responsibility, right? So if the people are able to address on these areas, I'm sure they are ready to take up assignments in whichever area as well as the field.
Perfect. I think touch upon a very interesting point. Are we losing you? Looks like there is. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think a very interesting point is leadership is not just experience and role they play at senior levels. It's also about, like you rightly said, about responsibility and taking ownership of the whole stuff and driving things done. So fantastic. And finally, coming to you, Karpagam, your views. I know most of the points are covered, but I would still love to have your thoughts on it. You aren't audible. No, we can't hear you. Well, I think you might need to connect to audio or just. Okay, so while I think looks like some technical glitch, till the time Karpagam comes in, probably we will roll with the other set of questions and we'll come back when she is back fine. All right, so next interesting point is we all touched upon what skills are required. So can you also tell what do you see as gaps among the current global workforce and industry expectation? Maybe, Vala, I would love to start with you.
See, other than the skills, what I addressed, the gap, see, I've been coordinating the placements activities over here in Janssen's for the last 12 years, right? Industry, what they look at is like, yes, from the management students' perspective, I'm addressing, because I do not have much of knowledge pertaining to the engineering. Certain industry relevant skills, say, for example, currently we are talking about analytics. If students have some sort of working knowledge pertaining to these areas, they become employable in a very short span once they are onboarded into the organization. So other than that, yes, they want people to be very good communicators. They are people who can think out of the box and people who are adaptable to situations. See, right now, technology is playing a major role. 10 years, a decade back, it was expected out of people, say, for example, a management graduate, he needs to have skills to work with MS Office package. Today, the industry will look upon people who can work with analytics, right? Adaptability, people have to be adaptable to changing scenarios, environments, situations, that includes even technology also. So I would say adaptability becomes one major issue.
Okay, good. And Sundar, what would you like to highlight
as I'm also coming from the management, Adithya Business School, so management background, I do agree with Mr. Bala Danda, so on these aspects of adaptability, as I have written. And another important thing is about consistency, performance. As already addressed by people, is ownership and consistency when it comes to employability. And the gap, what we see it today, is basically, as I told you earlier, what we teach in the classroom is 13%. And what they require to be equipped, the ability and competency is 87%, which is what industry expected, which is not from me merely. I'm saying it's given by the experts who are working in the industry across the world. So I have got experience. I've got some opportunity to work in overseas, Southeast Asia, and even the US and so on. So what I feel like it's all about adaptability is the base thing, and taking ownership on your own. That's very much important. Basically, we should be ready. The integration between what we teach is something the teachers think we are teaching, but what we are teaching, we teach marketing, example, we teach analytics, we talk about. We teach basically students. That needs to be taught first, actually. We teach students something, not the subject is a priority. It's all about the students is in the centric form. We have to think about it. Bringing industry into the collaborations is another aspect we have to see. Even people are ready to speak to data language, they call it. It's like other languages. Data is also a language. Data can communicate when you are ready to communicate with the data. People talk about it. We got to think about it.
Okay, sure. Anusha, what do you see as gaps?
I think, for me, I think more than the academic oriented skills, I'm addressing at a basic, individual level or a human level kind of competence that I feel is very essential, is what everybody has mentioned in a different term, responsibility or, accountability. It's the same thing, it's just that the drive for achieving something, I see a lot of complacence with today's kids. And things are easily handed off in a platter. So I think it's all different forms of the same thing. What they're saying and what I'm saying, it's the same thing. But I feel they have to have the fire in the belly, rather to go on a global workforce and perform. Because I have worked personally in Airbus for 5 years, and what took me there is I have to be overperforming than the individuals who are there. So there has to be that fire in the belly. And the second thing that I feel is very important is cultural sensitivity. I think, most of our children should be sensitized culturally to be working in any force. We are having so many differences among ourselves, and, when they go out in that mindset, they kind of shrink themselves, or, they get into trouble. So it's either way, it's not helping them. So I feel, this is something that is very relevant for the workforce, to be sensitized culturally, to go to any country, be open to things and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. I think it's all about behaviors and etiquette and other things along with it. Nice. Gopal, would you like to, because you being in the industry and you've been driving this as a mission, so what do you see as the gaps from your end?
Yeah, thanks, Shyam. In fact, I think most of the speakers have touched upon majority of the point. It's really nice to understand that this is the requirement for the global workforce. I just want to say a few things, which is, just want to add that what, sorry, I don't remember the name, Anusha was mentioning about the, accountability, cultural competence is very important. But I can take you to another aspect of global organization. Now they're putting a lot of emphasis on the ethical and social responsibility. So I am yet to see, or maybe I'm ignorant, that there are not many institutes talks about ethical and social responsibility, which is kind of a competency which is required. Because if you go to any, today the word, like everything is online, everything is available, Wi-Fi. So ethical and social responsibility is becoming so important. So when the HR goes out for talking about the new hire, so they always go for people who can actually pass this particular point as well. So the ethical and social responsibility is one more thing, which is important. Accountability, social, workforce, technology is very important, no doubt about it. So the other thing is, which is a buzz currently, is environmental awareness. So sustainability, the people are, all the organizations are talking about sustainability.
Right.
So there's not much talked about environmental issue at the time of the, somebody is doing engineering or post-graduation. So these are the 2 points which is important from my perspective. Apart from that, soft skills gap is definitely there, which is required: communication, teamwork, leadership, which I think most of the people have covered that. So these are the things which I feel is important to learn.
Super. I think I do see a lot of soft skills have started to be, being part of the system, especially for the campus drives and interviews and stuff like that. So that brings the next question in terms of what skills are being taught by the academic institutions. Ram, maybe you can share.
Yeah, we are talking about, we were talking about critical thinking. And there are changes in the way the students are being taught in the academic institutions now. It is not completely chalk and talk. It is not completely within a classroom. And there are the ways of delivery of lectures have changed a lot during the COVID and after the COVID, like innovative learning techniques, experiential learning, problem-based learning. Although problem-based learning, project-based learning, these are the kind of words that were used previously, and many experienced lecturers, without using the terminology, they were using in their practice. But now we are putting everything together. We call them as active learning techniques. I think these academic institutions will have to look at, as I said, I started with how you concentrate your way of providing information, a 5-year degree program and a 4-year degree program in 2.5 years. That means you need to pass on more information in a shorter period of time in a lesser number of courses. So obviously a classroom teaching which requires about 15 hours for 1 credit is not possible in these days. So what it requires, many institutes have started giving, not giving lectures, they are facilitating. Flipped classroom. The lecture notes are given, the videos are given, they watch out, and then they come back to the class with their questions, and the lecturer only provides a clarification on their doubts. So it's like the classrooms are changing into a facilitation room.
All right.
So these are the kind of changes in the academic institutions, the way the courses are delivered, will definitely make students with the required knowledge, the level of knowledge, and the depth and breadth in their chosen field. Definitely, this will help them, and obviously the kind of learning techniques that we use will also help them, because there are a lot of peer learning. There is a teamwork. And obviously, with every team, there is a leader, leadership qualities. There are, I would call them as associated benefits of going through your active learning techniques.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Akila, your views on this, please, in terms of the skills being taught by the academic institution. Akila, you are on mute.
Skills taught by an academic institution is first is the knowledge, that's obvious. Then followed by the technology skills. I would say it's industry specific technology skills related to the stream where they belong. Then the leadership skills, time management, which is I think it's very crucial. In a way, we do have some activity related to creativity and innovation skills, where prototyping or a product is being developed to understand the need of the industry. So skilling is very important rather than the good old days of teaching these days. Teaching is okay, but industry requires industry ready personals, whether it may be arts or engineering or any stream in that matter. They need industry ready within the degree, within the course of the degree. That
Right.
is what is because they don't have time to train their employees. So to match that, the industry specific skilling of the technology through internships and industrial collaborations, we'll be able to give the skills for the students. Again, research skills, now certain companies require research skills also from an undergrad. Okay. Because new kind of products for the industry is now developed by not by a PhD, but by undergraduate students. So that kind of skilling is also needed, and we do that research skilling also.
Fantastic. Because if I see from what you say, it's bridging the campus to corporate seamlessly, instead of the previous times of getting to a training programs and then the cooling period and stuff like that. So the modern workforce needs to be employable and ready to hit the job right from day one. Then you talked about internships. Now I bring the next question to you, Sundar. Is there any organization or industry or any trade group that actually acts as an interface to prepare institutions to bridge the gap?
As far as Coimbatore is concerned, CIA plays a major role. Confederation of Indian Industry, and also all the associations related to the specific stream of engineering and management.
Okay.
Then Madras Management Association is helping for management streams, I suppose.
Okay.
Likewise, all the associations. Now the entrepreneur network is very much behaving like a backbone for industry relations.
Sure. Okay.
BNI, CNI, so many forums are there. Then professional societies connect. They also bring the industry inside the institution. Then co-working space inside the institution is a greater benefit for the colleges, so that the internships and other things can be given inside the campus in the industry.
Okay, interesting. You talk about the incubation, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sundar, what are your views on that?
Yeah. So as recently we have our government of India has gone through the G20 forum, and they were looking at inclusive growth of the globe. Right. And this topic is apt for that, employability towards global, workforce towards global market. That's what we are talking about. Not just looking around us, what we have, we should start to expand ourselves towards, the developed countries, even where the education and the industry partnerships we have, and we have to start to work. That's one perspective. The other aspect I'm looking at it, what we teach is one thing, facilitation is one thing, what students receive it is another aspect, which we always miss. We give a lot of kind of inputs and facilitations happen. Either the previous question or you take it this question, whatever you bring it in, it has to be, taken into the proper way, and the students got to be developed towards the workforce. That's important. The readiness towards the employability, which is what we have to focus now before we get into all these, ornamental kind of things. I feel like, this should be taken care of.
Sure. And okay, so how do you think the industry experts can actually build partnerships with educational institutions in developing the future skills? Question to you, Anusha.
Yeah, I think, as people have already mentioned, holistic development of the student is mandatory. And I think, today, 10 years ago, if you look at, there were very few people who were ready to partner and do things. But today, the avenues are wide open. And as, another speaker, Dr. Akila was also mentioning, there are so many forums coming into colleges, and, they are even encouraging the students to be part of. And most of the colleges that we are aware today have built into the curriculum itself, the internship, and, so these kind of the collaborations have been on the growth, but I think it's still not at an optimum level. There is still this gap that needs to be bridged between the students. That's basically because of our teaching learning methodology that we use, and I think the examinations and the kind of the system that we follow, that goes a long way. But I think to my knowledge, I think things have been improving quite a lot in developing the skills required for the students. And the openness is also there with the industry, much better compared to many more years ago. Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Good to see you back, Karpagam. Is your audio back as well? No, we are still not able to hear you.
Yeah.
We couldn't still hear you. No, we are unable to still hear you. So till the time you connect through a different audio, log into a different audio system, then yeah, we will come back to you on that. Bala, what would you say about the industry experts? How do they build partnerships? Unmute yourself. Bala, please unmute. Bala, you need to unmute.
Hope I'm audible.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure most of us would agree. A number of industry experts are part of the, committees pertaining to various institutions like Board of Studies or Academic Council. And these people give a lot of valuable inputs with regard to how the curriculum as such can be structured, which will meet the industry expectations, right? And also they talk about having more of practice-oriented programs, which will definitely help institutions to address some of the needs. I'm not saying like 100% it can be addressed, but some inputs pertaining to, say, for example, communication skills, which can be addressed through a lot of practice-oriented courses, which is one of the important skill set which industry expects. And as Dr. Akila said, with regard to internships, having internship opportunity for students, because they get exposed to what is happening in the organization, and they get a lot of inputs about the industry, and to an extent they become job ready. Gone are the days when companies used to invest a lot of time and energy with regard to training. Today, companies are looking at deploying the people within 15 days of training, or 1 month of training, or 2 months of training max, right? So such kind of initiatives with regard to giving practice orientation for the students will definitely help in the long run.
Perfect. And thanks for that message, Karpagam. I think she had mentioned about CII forums, India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Coimbatore Management Association are some of the names that she could share through this online meet. So, Gopal, this is more apt for you. Because you are in this field and you are actually building something like this. So what are your views on this, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with all the speakers. They talked about the one thing which I'm very, if you ask me, that is very close to my way of thinking. I think the best is to have some kind of a training program, as everybody mentioned, that training program is required not 10, 15 days. So what we have done is, just to my own experience, we have actually started an internship program, which is talked about not after the graduation. Recently, we have tied up with one of the institute in Coimbatore. So what we have done is the engineering student or the management student who are getting into the final year of their college, we have taken them into an internship program, which is allowing them to learn on the real projects. And also there will be a 3 to 6 months tenure where they learn and also they get into the culture of the organization. So the biggest issue is currently the organization's thinking that they take the people, although the skills are fine, academically they are good, but getting into the culture of the organization takes a lot of time. So what we have done is we have taken these students who are in the final year, almost like 40 of engineering and 20 from the postgraduate institute, and they are the Australian company, but they have a footprint in Bangalore. So they said these are the right people to take into the organization where they work on the real project. They will be talking to the leaders of the organization and also get immersed in the organization, as a culturally. So I think that is a very important fact, that if you can organize some kind of a platform or synergy between the companies who can say, okay, we would like to take your student right at the final year and build them to your way of working. I think that will be a very good thing. And it's working all right currently. I think that was the mission. I took it over. I said, I should start a little earlier than the graduation. So it's working well. So I think that would be a very important thing. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that could be a game changer because it gives them a real life experience and there are no bridges, there are no gaps, there are only bridges built, to ease the transition into the campus of the corporate. This question I would like to ask Ram, can you highlight any specific initiative by your institution in order to build the future modern global workforce? Anything that you would like to highlight?
Well, the curriculum is being designed in such a way that we try to provide every requirement of the needs of the industry. We look at considering industry experts coming into our board of studies, advisory boards, and as well we expect them to come and give talks. So now we have, say for example, we have a course which are offered under honors or minors, a 3-credit course which is divided into 3 parts. First credit is being offered by our faculty, and the second 1 credit is offered by an industry expert. So he comes and he talks and he teaches and he provides a research topic as well, a mini project which counts for the 3rd credit. So this is how we have designed a course such that both you have academic and industry. And once you have an industrial project being solved, then that might also give an input, an idea, a new idea to the industry in a way. The industrial experts always provide through their talks the best practices which are developed in their industry. The best practices are not seen in any textbooks or any journals, but these come from experienced engineers. And obviously, these best practices are a good source of information for our students, which I believe is helping a lot. And of course, we do have a compulsory, mandatory internship for our students. They must visit the industry, see the industry themselves personally. Without seeing an equipment, it's very difficult for them to realize what it means. We can simulate on a PC, but then you do not know what a distillation column look like, what a heat exchanger look like. He has to go in and see things. And one thing which I always would expect now is that when I studied, it was always scaling up. You start small and then can you scale up to 100,000 tons per day, 100 tons per day, 1,000 tons per day. This is how people were talking. Now, the reason why we have to scale up is the scale of economy. The scale of economy at that point in time did not allow plants of smaller size. But now I'm looking at how our engineers can help scaling down. So can a bigger plant be built into smaller? This obviously will help in curbing the environmental issues, sustainability, and so on and so forth, including economic sustainability in chemical industries in particular, and in general in all industries. I think these are the points that I want to make at this point in time. Yeah.
Sure. Akila, anything specific to your institution would you like to highlight, please? Please unmute.
To accommodate the global workforce, how the cross-culture environment that has to be mentored during their studies. This is very much important because previous times they would go abroad and work. Now they are working digitally. Cross-culture is happening digitally. So the video conferencing, then the digital literacy of the right tools they have to use, then the etiquettes they have to follow, everything is needed. So even now we are doing it the same thing. So what are all the things that has to be maintained by the students after joining a company during the global talk has also to be taught in the institution. This is one thing. Next is the digital tools. Many of us think that only the Zoom is available, but not so. Even in Zoom, we do not know many of the options.
True.
So that kind of things has to be taught to the students because technically they'll be very competent. But when this comes, even for a small thing, they'll be requiring a workforce to work for them. So that kind of small behavioral changes and the literacy has to be taken care during their studies, which can be taught in the college itself. That we do. Then the other thing is what we can do is I mentioned the cross-culture thing. Even in India, when a student from Tamil Nadu goes to North India, it's suffocating for them. How to overcome these difficulties is again learning multiple languages, having something. Even we propose German and Japanese languages, foreign languages. Some way it can help them to survive in Europe. And again, English, it's a big problem for students from rural background. Again, we try something so that they can survive.
True. I think digital tools, literacy, I think quite a bit of interesting note. So I would like to ask, Anusha, what is your view on the role of technology in academics?
Yeah, I think, to touch upon the previous subject, only thing I would like to, all these things we do, and just one more thing that we do in addition is the mentoring. Between the alumni, and luckily we are having a lot of alumni who are in well-established places, and I think one of the things that we do even in ISRO and European Space Agency recently, our alumni have flourished in Chandrayaan-3 and everything. So career guidance from the beginning for the students to enter into a global workforce. So wherever they are, we pair them up with the alumni, and that seems to have been doing wonders for us. So that's one point I wanted to add. But your question about technology, it's inevitable, and everything we have to bring people into technology, and the more savvier they are. We started giving out laptops before the government started giving many years ago, and it is almost, you can see the difference between the student who has a laptop 24/7 versus a person who uses a computer in the lab setup. So there are a lot of differences. Everything is handy today, and having them skilled on technology is the most important thing, because that gives them the advantage to be the workforce. And if they know one thing more than the peers that they are with, definitely it adds advantage. And and technology, as as I'm a computer science engineer as well, before you learn one thing, the next thing is already there. Absolutely. By the time you finish. So it's like in that pace, the relentless learning and thirst, as I said before, to learn technology has to be inbuilt. The natural curiosity has to be developed, and that's when it stays on. So I think it's inevitable, and we train the workforce regularly. I think big data was trained 3 years ago. During COVID, we had big data bursts. So these are all things that what's in the market, we have to bring in. Prompt engineering. We're talking about prompt engineers today. We're giving out a lot of new technologies for them to play with. So that works very well.
True.
Yeah, Shah. I just want to add one point here,
please.
Shah.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think I absolutely agree with Anusha. So what is happening? I come across one of the edtech company recently based out of Bangalore. So they're actually focusing on skill development, which is emphasizing on the employment of higher education. So what I see in them, they are focusing on digital content production training, which is emphasizing on digital transformation. So I was actually surprised when they talked about drone technology, drone engineering, embedded engineering, cyber security, digital forensic. So this talked about, game designing, music engineering. So these are the subjects they are talking to you. So that's the futuristic thinking. I was very impressed with this company.
Interesting, because we are talking about tomorrow's workforce, not even today's workforce.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Building the future. Fantastic.
We should be prepared for that.
Yeah, absolutely, mind-boggling the way.
But very interesting, drone engineering, music, and all those gaming and things like that. I was very amazed.
Yeah, much needed for today. Absolutely. Bala, your views on that, please. Please unmute. Bala, you have to unmute.
Sorry. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
See, I mean, like, people have to get used to using technology. That's going to be part and parcel of their life, right? I'll give an interesting perspective pertaining to ChatGPT. People were thinking, like, especially who are into content development, artificial intelligence and ChatGPT is going to rob their jobs. But the point is, like, if people know how to harness ChatGPT as well as AI, they can definitely flourish. Now, students have started to use ChatGPT with regard to their assignments, and a number of universities in abroad have already started to accept assignments submitted through using ChatGPT and AI. Going forward, we will be, aligning to that line of thinking. And it is inevitable. So we have to be ready for the same.
Fantastic. Very, very aptly put. I think that's the in thing, with everyone today. Interesting. Yes. The next is, what are the key challenges and opportunities for Coimbatore, for the city like Coimbatore, in becoming a hub for modern and employable workforce on a global scale? So I would like to have Ram share his views on this, please.
Well, Coimbatore has been an education hub since I know. In 1980s, 3 engineering colleges out of 9 engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu. And even now, Coimbatore has been in the forefront of providing education to Tamil Nadu as well as India. But there are certainly challenges. The challenges are providing the sufficient or an adequate innovation ecosystem in the educational institutions is necessary now. We are all talking about startups, Make in India, and so on and so forth. We are not just producing engineers, we are producing innovators, creators. Every institute should have an ecosystem whereby every student is given an opportunity, both time-wise and facilities-wise, so that he can think of producing or thinking of a new idea that he can set up, that he can see how he can develop the prototype and then proof of concept, prototype, and then take it into a commercial space. I certainly believe there are some institutions which have their TBIs and so on and so forth. Not all institutes. I would like to see every institute to have at least a smaller setup of providing the innovation ecosystem. And if every institute in Coimbatore becomes has an ecosystem for innovation, definitely I think our level of education offering in Coimbatore will increase, and we will be able to retain the name, the education hub of Coimbatore, of Tamil Nadu in Coimbatore.
Very, very nice. Interesting. Sundar, being the son of the soil, what are your views on this?
It's me too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so Coimbatore has a potential actually. You see, there are like more than 50,000 companies and IT hubs are opened up now. You know that, but that one challenge, opportunity is there, but that one challenge we see is the integration. Even after post-COVID, it's really challenging for the institute and industry integration. So that has to be eliminated, and people have to come forward and look into it. And usually we see from the narrow down perspective, what I benefit, what you benefit. That's what we look into each other. But we got to look at, as always, the people, the leaders, the great leaders and socially responsible leaders think about inclusive growth of this particular region. This has the potential. This soil is really rich and enough to grow. And you have the hunger. We have the hunger, and we should all start to work together. Synergy is something we got to think about. That's what my simple thoughts over here.
Fantastic. Gopal, I would also like to hear your insights on this, please.
No, definitely. I think Coimbatore is definitely can be a hub. Can be, I'm using the word. I think the reason, the exposure of Coimbatore to the outside world is very minimum. I give you the example. The number of education trade commissions are coming to Australia are always from Gujarat or from Maharashtra or the big cities. So I was talking to one of the investment officer here in Australia. He said, Gopal, we have not even seen anybody even approaching from Tamil Nadu. Just to give you a little perspective of that, University of Wollongong, University of Newcastle, University of Deccan University, they opened their universities in Gujarat now. So imagine the kind of investment they're doing in Gujarat, because they people are coming from the government. And this last time I met them only about 4 weeks back, and there are about 20 of them had come, all the top executive from the education ministry from the Gujarat, and this called Gift City, if I remember correctly. So those people were there, and they were so hungry that please come and invest in our facility. They provided the export, some zone where there's no taxes for 10 years. So that sort of a thing is required. In fact, I was talking to Satish that you are jubilant Coimbatore. Why don't you do something about it? Get your people here. Tell them what exactly is there in Tamil Nadu which people are missing. So India is not only north, sorry to say, but it's also Tamil Nadu, which is absolutely, I personally feel that there's a lot of potential and exposed there.
Very true. Tamil Nadu traditionally has been the education hub, so to say, for fairly a long time. And that's an interesting point by Karpagam, who had mentioned the challenge is training and integration. Yes, I think one of you also had highlighted, and she had also highlighted opportunities as entrepreneurship and innovation. Of course, very, very valid. I wouldn't agree more. We are actually building a lot of entrepreneurs. Satish knows we are building it as a mission. And the suggestion that Karpagam has said is industry experts can be invited as a visiting faculty, and students can be provided on-job training with internship, of course, which was mentioned by Dr. Akila as well. And now one final question that I would like to have every one of you, share their thoughts is one idea or suggestion in 5 words or less in shaping the global workforce. Starting with Akila.
I would say Learning attitude.
Okay. Anusha?
Hard work and dedication, responsibility.
Okay. Okay. Ramaswamy?
Lifelong learning and adaptability.
Fantastic. Sundar?
Personalized education.
Okay. Bala?
One word, adaptability.
Adaptability. Okay. And Karpagam says leadership. Fantastic. And Gopal, what would you like to say?
I would like to go with a couple of things like prioritize to invest in lifelong learning and upskilling.
Okay, lifelong learning and upskilling. Okay, okay, that's fantastic. That's an interesting point. I think we have come to the end of the session. I think I have tons of points. It's hard to summarize too many points to with especially the industry stalwarts from the academic industry, because you are building the future workforce. But some of the key points, takeaways probably are the critical thinking, the problem solving, the creativity, the unlearning, learning aspect, the digital literacy, the communication soft skills, the entrepreneurship, leveraging the alumni network, which is, of course, one of the powerful points, inclusive growth, absolutely most interesting and which is being highlighted at a global scale in the G20 as well. Ethical and social responsibility. I think it's good to build students not just on skills. I think this is a very, very important point on ethics and social responsibility. Cultural sensitivity, you rightly mentioned. And of course, the business acumen, it's not just about being a programmer or being a managerial person, but also having the business acumen and stuff like that. I think it's fantastic hearing from every one of you. So I would like to say that as we step into the future, and we know that the modern workforce isn't just confined by location, because we talked about the hybrid and working from anywhere else. It is defined by collaboration, diversity, adaptability. And it is the vision of the likes of these education leaders, stalwarts, that will help shape this workforce, ensuring that we remain at the forefront of the ever-evolving global landscape. We still have a couple of minutes to go. So if anyone would love to ask questions, I would put the other way around. Questions to Gopal. Please shoot questions to him to get any insights from him before we close.
So I've been away from India for 23 years, right? And I've come to the stage where I want to give back to the community. That's why I've been coming to India so often. My only thing is that how the leadership team, which is sitting here, how do they feel they can get exposure to their student to the international market? Or maybe, I don't know, how do they plan to do that? That's very important. So that will be a question which I would like to ask, because people sitting here, they want to give back to the community in India, how they want to take the leverage of this facility, which people really want to do that.
Nice. And who would you like to ask? Yeah, Anusha has volunteered.
Because I can relate to him, because I was living abroad for 11 years and then I came back. And, I think the best way that I have seen to give them the exposure is to, even the faculty and everybody, to get them exposed to international conferences. They send them out. Even CII has a lot of, they go to different countries, visiting universities, the kind of exposure that we constantly bring them. And today, the digital world, it's not a limited, one song gets popular in Korea and one song gets, everything is everywhere. So we don't really have to try much, but yeah, definitely, there is a closure in mindset of children to not get exposed more than what they want to. So beyond that, I think the first step in my mind is to internationalize the student community, internationalize the faculties. So they have to know what they are talking about when they're there. So yeah.
So my perspective, basically, you are in virtual platforms. We are running out of time. Anything can happen in seconds and in minutes through virtual platforms. So that's going to be the fantastic infrastructure we have. We got to make use of it to integrate global atmosphere.
I think internationalization is certainly a point to be taken up. As we said, the programs should be accredited by international bodies, so that your degrees are accepted everywhere. And there must be a collaboration between universities, top universities mentoring universities at lower rank and so on and so forth. I've also spent 21 years out of India and come back to India recently. Been to several universities, and every time you go to your university, you learn something new. The best practices in industry, the education industry, is seen in different universities in different ways. I think the exposure is the key for everyone to understand how the other universities, other education systems operate, and how we can make use of them in our own system.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Anyone else have any other questions? This is the time. Okay, so that's pretty much exciting and a very inviting kind of a session. And it's really wonderful to be part of such a interesting panel, because you are the backbone in building the future workforce, which is much needed for the country. And we are at a threshold of making it even bigger. So thanks to all of you for having contributed.